How y'all doing, guys? It is 9:01 a.m. U.S. Pacific Daylight Time here in Los Angeles. And it is Tuesday, April 4th, 2023 AD. And you know who's standing with Trump? Based George Santos.
Where's that? Oh, you're AP. Hi, how are you?
George Santos, Republican.
President.
He supports the president.
No, I'm not.
Why do you feel that you need to support the president?
Media talking to him.
You okay?
She's out of breath.
I feel bad.
Reporter lady, out of breath.
I want to support the president because I think this is unprecedented and it's a bad day for democracy. I think if this starts a precedent that what's to stop the next prosecutor in 2 years from doing the same thing to Joe Biden and moving on every 4 years.
Are you worried they're going to come after you?
Does
he have legal issues? Does he have legal issues? What are they? Tell me what they are.
This makes it bad precedent legally.
Who's that trying to interrupt you?
It cheapens the judicial system. Not good for America.
That's right, man.
Trump will return the favor.
No, he's not. You're lying. You're
Trump will return the favor. And
With his thin hair.
I'm not here for that.
Step this way.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Santos.
Are you worried about your own legal jeopardy?
Hey, beautiful.
Badgering him with questions.
Lock him up!
Lock him up! Is that a black guy saying lock him up? No bail.
They have jets!
The flight risk, they have jets. Trump is a flight risk, he has jets. Trump Force One.
I'm gonna harvest ballots!
I'm gonna harvest ballots. They're walking through the streets of New York. George Santos, the lying politician. Like that's news. Give me a break. Making a mockery of the politicians, which they are a mockery. Rats with microphones, says Raymond 11. Yeah. Shout out to George Santos, spotted outside the Manhattan criminal court where Trump was scheduled to surrender today, according to Scooter Castor, New York. She's the one who recorded that video, but the AP lady was not her, I don't think. I'm here to support the president as he walked past the courthouse, unclear where. Well, right on, man. Effeminate sounding George Santos. He was married and then he announced his candidacy like 3 months after he got divorced, married to a woman. But anyway, let me just play clip 13 while we're at it. Since we're talking Trump, this is from Rebs Brannon. A man dressed as Trump in an orange jumpsuit back in New York City again. I wasn't aware that there was one in the first place, but unsurprising. Only a handful of counter-protesters gathered so far here in the park outside the Manhattan courthouse. This is about 10:30-ish a.m. Eastern time today, about 40 minutes ago or so. Catch this. Doesn't he look like they make him look like a criminal. Like a serial killer. Trump lies all the time, says this banner. Reads this banner. Trump lies all the time. New Yorkers love lies. That's why they keep on electing demon rats. Democrats. Crazy. I saw Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch was tweeting leftists' dangerous and unhinged hatred for Trump exposed on C-SPAN. And he responded with truth. I guess he was being interviewed maybe today. George Santos. Shout out to George Santos. I jokingly call him base, but he... I'm chuckling because I'm looking at a portrait of him. Maybe I'll drag this into the folder here. Official portrait. Wearing this big old smile, looking like a nerdy, goofy guy. But he's a Republican. Not a Republican. He doesn't resign under pressure. I just dragged it into the folder. Rep. George Santos official portrait. Right on. Spoiler alert. My chief mod wearing these glasses, Clark Kent style glasses sort of thing. I wonder if they're even real. He's like 30-something years old, 35-ish, give or take, with a sweater over his undershirt with a, not undershirt, his white collared shirt with a tie underneath that sweater thing, and a blazer over it, and sitting all straight like he's a third grader taking his school portrait, making a mockery, and I love it, of the politicians, because they are all mockable. They're all worse than him, even though he thinks he's homosexual, according to him, I heard. And he supposedly lied about his mother dying in 9/11. She died 15 years later. He lied about losing 4 employees at the Pulse nightclub shooting, the gay nightclub that got shot up by the radical ISIS supporter or whatever, Omar Mateen, who people thought he was something else, not morally straight. Looks like a nerd, says Kyle. Kale or Kyle? Somogi. Yeah. So anyway, I'll be talking about that arraignment today on Modern Day Debate, debating Mathew with one T. Mathew with one T of Caught in the Middle 0823. Caught in the Middle 0823. That's his YouTube handle. I appeared on Caught in the Middle recently. Lisa, our resident health expert, remarks that he seems like he's a little stiff. George Santos. Yeah, true. Terrible. But today I'm going to be talking about today on this show, Modern Day Debate. You can catch that 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to debate, should Trump have been arrested or arraigned or whatever, face charges. But I'm going to talk about today those 4 NASA astronauts. I will also be taking your calls, guys. The storms are coming in. There's a lot of death that occurred. Like dozens of people died from those tornadoes. Like I told you guys, I tried to warn you. Hopefully no JLP listeners suffered from those tornadoes because they heard Hake news and they took cover. And uncompassionate, unchristian Zelensky. Ridiculous. He doesn't seem very concerned about that alleged terror attack that I told you guys about. I spent the last several minutes of the Hake report yesterday about that assassination of that Vladlen Tatarsky. He's a propagandist, according to the propagandists. Which side are you going to call propagandists? They're all propagandists. I'm shaking my head. And then there's this preacher dude, wannabe dudette, in Fargo. Fargo, where is that? North Dakota or South Dakota? You seen that movie, Fargo? It's a transgender so-called pastor comparing the transgender who shot up the school to Jesus. Crazy. I'm shaking my head. And some other things, guys. Based Ron DeSantis in Florida, expanding the right to carry guns, because it should be expanded. It should be uninfringed, right? But anyway, guys, let's get right on with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. I am wearing my New York t-shirt, jersey, but it's t-shirt. It's a t-shirt, but they called it a jersey, which I'm happy because it's 100% cotton. New York Yankees, and it has Nike on it. I disavow Nike, but we wear it anyway because Nike supports evil. In the face of using the face of that guy who hates white people and cops, even though he's half white and was raised by whites. You know that one guy, football player or wannabe football player, somewhat talented, but then he got that Egyptian girlfriend, DJ Gal, and turned to SJW and started sitting like a bump on a log, disrespecting the military and the country and the flag. And then he started kneeling after he talked to a veteran, a liberal veteran, ridiculous, blanking on his name, Colin Kaepernick. So that's why I disavow Nike. And also they support all kinds of LGBT mess and phony Black Lives Matter stuff. But New York Yankees, I'm not a fan of Yankees. I'm more of a Southern pride sort of a guy, I guess. Shout out to the beautiful South. But the New York Yankees are a baseball team, and this guy, Donaldson, 28, he's racist, according to the blacks, which, who's not racist according to the blacks? Give me a break. And so I bought his thing, his jersey. He was trash talking some black guy, and some black guy is like, I don't play like that. You disrespecting me. I don't play like that. It's very racist. And so, like, he was suspended or something like that, and maybe apologized. Give me a break. Mets greater than Yankees, says Lisa, who is our resident health expert, so she would know. So anyway, it's ridiculous. I'm tired of hearing myself talk already. Let me get to a call or two, guys. CJ in Texas is on the line. CJ, how you doing, CJ? Thanks for calling, man.
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing well as well.
So do you want to talk about the holiday season, or do you want to talk about your views on pedophile catchers?
Well, you called in about the holiday season. Now you're giving me a choice. Are you trolling me?
No.
We'll take it where it takes us. But you called in about the holiday season. Did you really want to talk about my views on PDF file catchers, so-called catchers?
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that for a while, but it's the holiday season. So, and then I heard Patrick just gruelingly try to explain what he was trying to explain, and
I don't know what you're referring
to.
I don't know what you're referring to. Are you referring to something that happened on the Jesse Lee Peterson show? Patrick from Denver?
Yeah, but he's gonna call into your show anyway. So I'll just let me. So
I'm all confused. You act like you're predicting the future. How do you know Patrick's going to call into Hake today?
Because he always does.
Are you a diviner?
My tarot card said so.
What a mess.
Just joking.
Anyway.
So there's so originally before Christianity got turned into pagan, pretty much just a pagan religion by Constantine, God originally gave 7 holidays for people to celebrate. They were called the 7 called out assemblies, or the 7 Moed Mikre. And 7 was like a really divine number for God. And so he gave the 7 called out assemblies. Jesus practiced all of them. John 7:2, they're encouraging Jesus to actually go to Jerusalem so that people can see him practicing the final called out holiday, which is the holiday of tabernacles. But on this Wednesday, it will be Passover. In Hebrew, it's Pesach. And then on Thursday, it'll be Matzah. And then on Friday, it'll be Bikurim. And those are the first 3 festivals and holidays that God gave us. And Passover is when the Hebrews sacrificed a lamb and painted the blood on the upright pillar and the crossbeam of their doors.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to sacrifice an unblemished lamb.
When they were in Egypt. Yeah.
Well, there is no such thing as a really unblemished lamb. Like Jesus Christ was the Lamb of God, and he was perfect. So he was finally the perfect lamb that would fully satisfy Passover, which symbolically was God allowing us to not die, was the symbolism of that. So
right, because the spirit of death passed over the doors that were painted with the blood, and then they passed into the homes of the Egyptians and killed their firstborn sons.
Right, so Jesus died on the cross. So Jesus on Passover night. So you got to understand that in Hebrew, days begin when the sun goes down.
Right.
So although Jesus was sacrificed on Passover, his Passover dinner was the night before.
Right. Okay.
Okay, and then he became the Passover lamb, the sacrificed Passover lamb the day after. So normally you would sacrifice the lamb on Passover night and eat it. Jesus ate Passover dinner with his disciples and then got sacrificed on the cross. Now, his blood being shed on the cross is still, so when you read it in the Old Testament, it's the upright pillar and the crossbeam of the door. So the cross is symbolic of the doorway that the blood was put on. That doorway allows you for the Heavenly Father to actually forgive you. And
nice.
Like Jesus doesn't save, God saves. Jesus just makes it possible for God to save you through his sacrifice on Passover.
Yeah.
Now, why anybody would take Passover and replace it with the pagan holiday Easter and serve up a big ham, which God says is his most detestable food on earth. I mean, do it if that's what you want. But Easter initially was a holiday that celebrates, rampant sexual prowess. That's why it's a bunny and an egg, is because both of those are symbols of fertility. And before it became a Christian holiday, the men used to make huge paper mache male parts, would run around and shove them into women's pelvic areas as a celebration of just
TMI.
Running around and getting everybody pregnant.
TMI. But we need to be making a lot of white babies, so maybe we should keep it. But nowadays, a lot of the Christians are rejecting Easter because they're linking it to that Ishtar person, whereas we Christianized the pagans. We Christianized the pagans and turned a pagan holiday Christian, but the Christians want to act like the Christian holiday is turning pagan, which it is now. And so they're...
I'm wondering how you turned it Christian since you still have bunnies laying eggs.
Bunnies don't lay eggs, man. What in the world?
I know, but rabbits were a symbol of fertility and eggs were a symbol of fertility. That's why you have Cadbury eggs and Easter bunnies and...
Yeah, that's fine, but they're Christian. Yeah. But it's all about Jesus, really. Everybody knows that it's about Jesus rising again on the third day.
Well, what's really about Jesus is him dying on Passover, him spending 3 days in Shaul or hell. That's like during Matzah and Bikurim. Bikurim is, so you have 3 holidays in a row, Passover, then unleavened bread, and then first fruits. Then Jesus rises after being in Shaul for 3 days. That's when he paid for our sins. And then he gets resurrected 3 days later. Friday to Saturday to Sundays, it's only 2 days.
But
right?
It's the third day. But it's the third day.
No,
is when he rose. He rose on the third day.
Well, he died on Friday. Saturday
That's the first
morning.
day. Friday's the first
then
day.
Then the sun set on Friday night.
Saturday's
so now
the second
Saturday's
day.
the second day.
Uh-huh.
Is the first day. Well, no, he spent 3 days in Shaul. As Jonas did in the belly of the whale. It's 3 days and 3 nights.
So he didn't rise on Sunday? He rose on Monday, you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, so 3 days later, not on the third day?
Yeah, but you're trying to shove it into Easter, which isn't a Christian holiday, so nothing can actually make that much sense.
So is it really Resurrection Monday or is it Resurrection Sunday?
It's really Resurrection 3 days after Passover, so this year it should be like Resurrection Friday.
Because Passover is on Wednesday?
Saturday, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because Passover is on Wednesday.
But he died on Good Friday.
Passover's not on the same day of the week every year.
Oh, but were they counting?
Passover's on the 15th day of the first month.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, and then after, so what happens on Passover is God gives you eternal life. What happens on matzah is you're purified of your sins. And what happens on Bikurim is you're written into the book of the Lamb, and, you know, that kind of covenant is made. You then have, after that, you have Shabbat, which is the festival of 7. So that's 7
That's the
Sabbaths
Sabbath.
later plus 1. So that's 50 days later. And that's a party where everybody in the world is invited to partake, you know, and it kind of opens up the religion to the Gentiles and everyone else.
Yeah.
And they can become the beneficiaries of Pesach, Matzah, and Bikurim. After that,
I'm chuckling because Lisa, our resident health expert, says cholera is trying to ruin Easter for us.
Yeah. Well, you guys kind of ruined God. So
who's you guys?
Then after Christians. So,
but aren't you a Christian?
So, you asked me that before.
I forget.
I grew up with liberal, atheist, evil parents.
Right.
So I just had to start studying stuff on my own.
I know, but are you a Christian now?
Do Christians believe in Paul as being a saint?
Are you a Christian?
I wouldn't call myself a Christian.
Okay.
I just call myself a son of God. Or I would say that I'm a covenant.
But you seem like an intellectual type of a guy. Are you living it?
What do you mean?
Are you living?
I'll be having a nice lamb dinner tomorrow night.
A son of God life. Yeah, I'm not into ham. I bet you I would prefer lamb. I do like hot dogs. You know, if they're pork. Anyway.
I think the best hot dogs are beef. Do
you live as a son of God?
I do now, yeah.
And not just know all the intellectual stuff about it.
No, I live it in diet, way of life. Try to.
You said diet and way of life?
Try to. I have a totally different, my entire personality online and in chat it's just 100% sarcasm.
I know, I can tell.
I'm actually just always actually really try to be kind and forgiving, and
that's how you are in person.
Yeah, I try not to say any, but practice God's word, study it. And the thing of
by God's word, by God's word you mean the Bible minus the Paul writings, and whatever else is left out of the Bible that should be in the Bible.
Yeah, even Apocrypha. Some of the other disciples. When Jesus was walking around,
but by God's word you mean
constantly.
By God's word you mean the written stuff.
No. I really believe that. As you practice, I don't know how else to say it, just being a good person, the written stuff becomes less and less needed. I just know and talk about the written stuff because there's so many Bible thumpers out there, and I'm just constantly having to tell them, you don't even know what's in your own book. It does not say that. And they're like, but it says it here and there and over there. I'm like, no, it doesn't. And if they'll just start quoting Paul. I'm like, okay, here's every single thing you can say from Paul. I will show you how Jesus said the opposite thing.
Okay.
And maybe you believe that Paul's the Antichrist or not, but
the Antichrist or an Antichrist?
Well, but the Antichrist that Jesus was talking about in his time.
Interesting, man. Well, I appreciate it.
He's obviously the ravenous wolf from the tribe of Benjamite. I don't know if all Antichrists are Benjamites from the ravenous wolf, but anyway, there's 7 holidays. God gave them to us. They're kind of important in my view. I'll just finish it off and then let you go.
How come you're so snarky in your calls and online? If you're this loving, patient person in person,
I'm being snarky?
Yeah, you say you say that you're sarcastic on your calls and online and stuff like that. Maybe you didn't say on your calls.
Oh, I don't think I'm being snarky on my calls.
Oh, you're pretty snarky on your calls at least at the beginning.
Oh, snarky in my calls?
Yeah, like sarcastic. Snarky means sarcastic, a little bit of an edge of nastiness, perhaps. Maybe it's my imagination. Maybe I'm misinterpreting.
I thought I just made a comment on pickled vegetables and then called in and talked to you about gut health. And then after I hung up, a bunch of chat people asked if I was a Christian. So then I called back to talk to you about
No, but I'm asking about you, man.
Paul, and I was wondering what...
You say that your online persona is 100% sarcasm.
Yeah, but
and
my
why?
calls aren't online.
Why?
Huh?
Why? Is it God-led to be sarcastic online? Like you are?
Maybe. It's just...
But you don't... But not for sure.
I don't know. There's a way of making a point through ridiculous absurdum. And, sometimes you can tell somebody something, they won't get it. But if you can just show them how absurd it is, then they do understand.
Okay. I appreciate it, man. And thanks, as always, for your support. And
Oh, no more super chats after that snarky comment, man.
Thanks, man. And happy Passover or whatever
happy
you call
Passover.
it.
Yeah,
which starts tomorrow. You're starting that tomorrow.
At sundown.
Nice, man. So you do follow what the Jews do.
Well, not the rabbinical Jews.
Right.
Just not
what
really the Jews.
Just what the logical conclusion if the Jews were to follow their religion as it was meant to be.
Yeah, I don't do all of the stupid religious stuff like wear the dumb hat. I don't even mean the small hats. I mean those big stupid black hats and the way that, it's just all about deprecation instead of like feeling good and God's love and stuff. So I'm definitely not Jewish.
Right.
But I also have not just thrown out the Old Testament because it's like, oh, Jesus came, goodbye Old Testament, because that's just something Paul taught. Like the laws died with Jesus and Jesus said the law didn't die one bit with me. So I still value the Old Testament, but not a Jew.
All right, man. Thanks, CJ.
I love soda. Don't like juice. Have a good one.
All right, you
Bye.
too. Bye. Interesting that Mormons reject soda, don't they? Or caffeine, anyway. FREDERICK, I would be remiss in not reading this. Passover was when the sun resurrected north of the equator. OMG, oh my gosh. Y'all are so dumb. Sorry, kids. Thank you, man. That's not a super chat, but since I'm reading chat, let me read some super chats here before I get to stories and calls and stuff. Soul Conscious with the Streamlabs support says, James, what's your thought about the Queen, Marjorie, and he says Taylor Greene. I like to call her Marjorie Greene because Taylor's her maiden name, and she's married. Fighting for Trump the way she is. Only conservative that's showing some real loyalty to Trump. Yeah, I saw George Santos, but we can't call him a conservative, can we? He's not very conservative. He's a liberal who just calls himself Republican. That's nice. I haven't really seen what she's up to, but I did hear that she started a rally over in support of our greatest president, Donald J. Trump, and I appreciate that. I do really believe she should be home, Marjorie Greene, tending to her children or whatever, and, she can still exercise. It's good to exercise. We showed her exercise videos. It's nice. Good example. Even those wild butterfly pull-ups or things that people think it's so wild and crazy, but those are real pull-ups. It's a real different type of pull-up. Yeah, I would say don't worry your pretty little head, Marjorie Greene, but we do appreciate you. I appreciated her appearance at AFPAC, America First Political Action Conference, at which JLP also spoke. Hers was more kind of a canned politician speech, but it was okay. Still, irregardless, which is not a word, I appreciate her trying to stand for what's right, but move over and respect men. I haven't really seen the details of what she's up to, but that's nice that she supports Trump. It's nice that she supports the January 6thers. And she's much maligned and falsely maligned by the mainstream media suckers. Based America First bought 3 coffees on buymeacoffee.com/The Hake Report. Hat tip, night wave radio. April Fool's Day is gone, but Black Scent April Fools never go away. Black accent, I think is what he's saying. Does he close that black accent, or do I have to read this whole thing black accent from here on out? Did he open that? Because he has these brackets, and that means open black scent. So I have to do black scent the whole rest of the time, and I don't know if I want to do that. Never go away. Alvin Bragg, for obvious reasons, and being so afraid of Trump's shadow that he can't give us President Trump handcuffs or mugshot memorabilia. Eric Adams, for saying that Trump protesters are responsible for New York City's crime rates. Jennifer Granholm, for telling taxpayers spending 10 times more importing Chinese e-waste LED light bulbs to save a little on Joe Obama's inflated electricity costs. By the way, Obama caused the last USA incandescent light bulb manufacturer to close. I remember that. Incandescent light bulbs, way better, warmer, and hot light bulbs. LEDs have come along, but still, irregardless, which is not a word, I don't appreciate Obama. Los Angeles County Supervisors Lindsay Horvath and Hilda Solis. I know about Hilda Solis. She's from the same area that I'm from, El Monte, Temple City area. For wanting to release violent criminals from county prison because it's a humanitarian crisis and they don't belong there. Adam Kinzinger, Rhino, anti-Trump guy, for thinking he's still relevant and that being accused of a crime proves guilt. Liz Cheney, ex-Republican. I think she left the Republican Party, right? Dick Cheney's daughter. The supposedly straight one, but not morally so. Liz Cheney for failing at being rich and unemployed, so she returns to the University of Virginia, communist utopia in her home state. Oh, yeah, because she tried to be a senator or something like that from Wisconsin or something, right? Wisconsin or wherever, how far you've fallen. Nimrata, I'm going to talk about Wisconsin. Nimrata Randhawa, that's Nikki Haley, for thinking she's a real Southerner, but she's really Indian, who can be president of the United States, but polls less popular than Liz Cheney. We wish them well. Thank you. Those are our April Fools. Shout out to the April Fools. And we say that with love, not with disdain. At least we should. It's super edgy every time you say demon rat, Hank, says DJ on Paw. That's right, because I'm so based that I call them, get this, demon rats, as opposed to Democrats. Nice. Trump says the Democrat Party, as opposed to the Democratic Party, because they're not Democratic, they're Democrat. Nice. Jordanos with the streamlabs.com/The Hake Report super chat, crying at one single teardrop emoji and crying a flow of rivers down both cheeks tears emoji. I feel that my thoughts are telling me to go ahead and cut Samson's hair. May God help President Trump. Don't cut Samson's hair. Delilah, control yourself, woman. Don't listen to those thoughts. Don't listen to Satan. Don't listen to the serpent. Anyway, thank you guys for the super chats. It's a mess. One more super chat from Ego is Real. Ego is Real. Bought a coffee. Satan tells Eve, smoke and party in your 20s so you can start a family later. You can start a family later. Your husband has low blank count. Not blank count, but, the P something word. Why am I, whatever. Divorce because your husband lied about wanting children. Oh, he's referring to my caller yesterday. You will be fulfilled as a middle-aged dog mom. Governments are corrupt because space aliens are influencing leaders. Paul tells Eve, Jesus says, be reconciled to your husband. 1 Corinthians 7:11, and tell your thoughts to BT blank O. Blow all the way out. Something like that. I don't know if I should be saying that word either. 2 Corinthians 10:5. 2 Corinthians 10:5. Is that where it says, take every thought captive? Anyway, right on, ego is real. Thank you, man. A bunny was just a bunny before it became a symbol, says Chef Gummy D. Yeah, let me check over on Rumble. Okay. Let me get to Keith in Illinois. He's on the line. Keith, how are you doing, man?
What's up, big guy? How are you, buddy?
Doing fine, man.
Yeah, I just want to, just bring up a topic and see what you think about it.
Okay.
I think that, it's time for real men to step up and, take their place, do what we have to do. I mean, I'm talking about taking it to not violence, but things that's going to make a difference. Like, we need our own GoFundMe page because we know the liberals, anytime it's got something to do with something morally right, or we stand up for ourselves, they're not gonna do a GoFundMe for anybody like that.
That's true.
So that's the first thing we need. We need to.
I think we have.
Right away.
There is one. I think there are ones like, is it Give, Send, Go or something like that?
Oh, okay.
Something like that. There are one or two different fundraising pages that are sort of free speech friendly, sort of conservative friendly.
Oh, okay. Well, they need to be promoted more. You know what I'm saying? And we need to get the money. We need to get the money in there when somebody's wrongfully, accused of breaking the law. We need to get the money in there. And I think that how can a police officer arrest anybody they know morally right? Like me, if I was a police officer, I'd be like, I'm not going to do it. Because my thing is so many jobs out here, I don't have to be a police officer. Like, what's the big deal? I could be like, screw you. Okay, because I'm not going to arrest Donald Trump. I'm not going to arrest people that defend themselves, for protecting their lives. I'm not going to arrest anybody like that. It's not going to happen. Like, fire me. Give me my unemployment. I go get another job in Florida, some other state. So I think police officers, a lot of people need to step up. Military need to put on they Trump hats too. Like, are you gonna kick me out of the military? So what? I could go get another job. It's like, I don't understand why people are so fearful. That's not being a man. When there's so many jobs out here, it ain't like they can hurt you. I can understand if there was like small amounts of jobs and you had a family to feed. Okay, but now you could drive a bus now and make $25 an hour driving a school bus.
Wow.
So I don't understand why. But I know why they don't do it, because they're not men, they're betas, you know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, a police officer, a military, I wear my Trump hat in the barracks, you know what I'm saying? You don't like it? I know it's many. I would tell the rest of them, put your hats on too. If you don't like it, kick us out of here. What I care? Go get another job.
Yeah, although it's not always a time. I mean, you shouldn't always be wearing a Trump hat or whatever, because you don't necessarily want to be promoting politics on the job, but your point is well taken. For example, like
that's all I'm trying to say.
Arresting people for doing the wrong, for doing right.
That's what I mean by that. And I feel like if they could. The reason why I'm wearing my hat, because they are actually promoting liberal values. You know what I'm saying? And wokeness. So why can't I wear my hat? You know what I'm saying? I'm not scared. Like I said, I'm a warrior. I'm not scared. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Fire me. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? And I think that every man step up and do that, and every woman, things will change overnight. And I feel like this here. If I live in New York, I was like, we could block off the streets with all our vehicles, walk out all our vehicles, and we had to go fund me that, can get our vehicles out of tow. It should be like hundreds of thousands of vehicles blocking New York. You know what I'm saying? Because they get to do things like that. They get to protest. Nothing happens to them. And if we have our GoFundMe and all these good lawyers on our side, we'll get people out of jail. We'll be suing the Democrats. We'll be suing the liberals. We could do the same thing that they do. I just don't understand Why nobody's doing that? Because, you can make millions on the other side, too, suing liberals, suing the Democratic Party. You can make millions. Amen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about lawsuits. I don't really have a high hope in lawsuits and that type of route. I get that there are some decent lawyers out there. For example, I just mentioned the guy from Judicial Watch. I think he helped JLP with his lawsuit against Jesse Jackson and his son who assaulted him, allegedly.
That's what I'm saying. We have lawyers out here, and what it is, if we start to back each other, more people will come forward. It's kind of scary when you step out there on your own. It's kind of like, wow, they're coming after me, but I don't see anybody protecting me. But if everybody stand up, and show their resistance together, lawfully, then things will change. I mean, we need to step up. We cannot do the same old thing and expect a different results from our tyrannical terrorist government. It's like everybody keeps doing the same thing. What why are you going to ball games? Why I don't I used to drink Bud Light and I thought that tranny on the can.
Sorry.
So I would never drink Bud Light again.
I disavow that word. You're supposed to call them a transgender. You're not supposed to say tranny.
Trans. Okay, I can use the word trans. I'm not going to use gender. Okay. I can use it. It don't matter the word trans.
It's a fake idea anyway. But
it is. I use the word trans.
I agree with you about not supporting evil so much, even though I am wearing a Nike shirt and a New York Yankees shirt. But it's for the racist guy. But I don't know about protesting and all that stuff. I don't know really what that does, because I've heard wiser men than me say that protesting is only really helpful because the mainstream establishment already supports what you're about, basically. The mainstream media, the politicians, they're already supporting you. And so, and they may not support you as much as some of the more extreme radicals want, of course, but they already support you. So they don't already support the whites and the Christians and the Trump supporters who go out and protest, because those guys get persecuted for peacefully protesting and falsely accused of all kinds of things like insurrection and incitement and whatever else that they're accusing these people of. Some of them are fugitives to this day. I think that more important than the protests, which there may be a place and time for that, but is what you said about not having fear and just living right. I think that's gonna, and you're right, men and women not having fear would help change things real fast.
Yeah, I mean, protest didn't work. Remember, the civil rights marches. I mean, people took a chance,
but civil rights was already supported. Civil rights was already, so-called civil rights was already supported by the communist mainstream media and the communist.
I was getting ready to say that.
Yeah.
But I was getting ready to say that. But it did make a difference. And so what I'm saying,
it made a difference in that people. It only in the propaganda, though, because it propagandized people and they showed the dogs and people and the fire hoses, and that was seen as terrible. But that's not terrible.
You're right. That's what changed things. The liberal media did help out on that cause. But I mean, you got people protesting in France. They standing up. People just, I'm telling you.
But I don't think those are right people.
You need to stand up now. Take, strike the iron wire. Joe Biden is the worst president the United States ever had. It's easy to get, people to be conservative, but you have to show people that you're willing to protest. You have to show them that, you're willing to back them in the protest with our lawyers, with our money, to show them with support and protest. That's when things change. I'm just telling you, if you keep back doing the same old things, hoping peacefully that things are going to change, it's not going to happen.
But that's a false, I think that's a false dichotomy, because protests isn't the alternative to doing the same old thing. Because we did the Tea Party, and then we did the free speech protests. And
so again, I said protests. I said,
but those things didn't. Those things didn't.
I'm getting a missed signal.
Those things didn't.
Like protests don't change anything. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, they
you
don't.
Have to show these people what they do, and then you got to show them with your money.
They don't change anything for the good, though.
Yes, they do, because what it's doing, you can the biggest protest is with your money. Now, I will say that. The biggest protest is with your money.
So you're talking about the way...
You shouldn't be going to any NBA games, any baseball games, any soccer games, and, you shouldn't be supporting Facebook. It's like, that don't make any sense to me, and so at least conservatives, if they're not willing to protest with your money. I've said this so many times.
Yeah.
That's how you get things changed. At least protest with your money.
I think spiritually we need to change. You're right, we shouldn't do the same old thing. Spiritually we need to change, and then we'll have the wisdom to know when to protest, how to protest, vote real hard. We should vote harder, protest harder.
Right.
But I think it's about how we live is much more important.
Okay, but we got to show these satanic people that it's just like a bully in the playground. If you don't come back and swing on him as hard as you can, he will kick your butt as long as you're on that playground. One thing bullies like these Democrats and liberals understand, they always showing up acting all violent, and but if somebody would knock their face off, you wouldn't see no trans person getting in nobody's face, and some little white liberal woman. They just know you're not. They just feel like you're not going to do anything. So I'm just saying. But these are soft.
These are soft bullies that aren't doing violence against you necessarily until push comes to shove, and then they can justify it legally. So like. You don't punch necessarily a person who's being soft evil towards you.
No, I'm talking about somebody that's aggressive and figuratively pushing you.
But they're not winning. They're not winning They're not putting transgenders in the libraries by violence. They're putting them in by the soft evil.
No, I'm talking about some of these protests. I do see these people getting in people's face, pushing them, spitting on. No, I see protests where Antifa, which is a number of a bunch of crackhead meth heads and a bunch of feds, they put in there to intimidate people. And these people, if these people are acting physically towards you, you have to defend yourself. I mean, because if you don't, why even show up? If you're gonna just take this soft route, you just might as well not even show up. Because, it's just like if they're going to be intimidated and you're not standing your ground, then you don't have a chance of changing anything.
Yeah. But there's other ways to stand your ground other than protesting is what I'm talking about.
I don't mind everywhere. We discussed it with your money. Your money
not just the money, too, because in some ways you're trapped. You can't help but spend your money on commie capitalist corporations.
Something, but you can't. You don't have to support Disney. You don't have to support. You don't have to support.
Yeah,
NBA,
but money is not
NFL,
even.
You don't have to support a lot of things.
Money's not even the biggest. Money's not even really the biggest thing that's powerful. These are all worldly things.
But I'm not talking about these corporations. They go by money, and if they become a tyrannical government, they become a tyrannical corporation. But if you still spending your money, giving them power and money. And so they get stronger.
But I'm talking about like spiritual strength, where you get into a situation and you don't cower, or you're just living right, so you don't need as much, and then you don't need to be spending your money on stuff that you don't need in the first place.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So at least if you go. To me, now, this is me talking. Now, this is me. Now. If you're going to be a coward, whoever you are, at least use your money to show your voice. That's all I'm trying to do.
I appreciate it, Keith, in Illinois. Take care, man.
Yes, thank you too, man.
All right. He is right about men, or not men right now. And it is like a fear of losing stuff. False attachment to things. Let me get to Daniel in Texas. On the line, wants to talk about what Keith just said. What's up, Daniel? How are you doing?
Hi, James. I'm well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for calling.
The gentleman who just called, what's his name?
Keith in Illinois.
Keith in Illinois, you are correct. I agree with you.
About what?
About standing up and doing what's right and wearing your MAGA hat if you feel like it at work.
At work?
Yeah, he said he wants to wear his MAGA hat at work, and he doesn't care if anybody fires him. And I say, more power to him.
But he's already old. He can afford that, and he can find another job. There's a lot of times not to be wearing a MAGA hat at work. Just because the liberals are wearing Black Lives Matter and LGBT and Democrat trash doesn't mean we should do wrong as well,
I just don't see what's wrong.
Because it's wrong to be pushing politics at work. It's like the wrong time and place for it. You're turning liberals away. You're turning people who are away from you before they even see the real you.
Oh, they see the real you.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do. That's why they put up a facade. They're scared.
No, I'm saying you're turning people away before they see you as a person of love, because you're just putting up this thing that looks offensive to them. So it looks like you're just trying to make them mad. They don't see the real you.
Oh, they see the real you.
I beg to differ.
They know what they're doing, James.
Who's they? I'm talking about people who don't know better, who are brainwashed to think that Trump is racist, or that this is politics. This is not the right place for this. I just came here to get my coffee or get on the bus or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't necessarily see the real you, and they don't necessarily know what they're doing. They're blind.
They do know what they're doing, James. They are angry. They're angry at themselves, and they're taking it out on the people that they think don't have anger.
So they think that Trump supporters don't have anger?
They see somebody that is not angry, and they take it out on them.
Wearing a MAGA hat? But how do they know that you're not angry just because you're wearing a MAGA hat? There's a lot of angry MAGA hat supporters.
They know you're not angry because you don't act angry.
I don't know, man, because people don't really know one another's heart just by looking at them.
They do, James. They know what they're doing.
All right.
They do. They do. They're very irate.
Do you wear a Trump hat? You never feel like wearing a Trump hat at work, do you?
I wear a cowboy hat at work.
Nice. But you're in Texas. You're allowed to.
I could wear it if I was a Yankee like you.
I'm not a Yankee, man. I disavow that. I'm just wearing the New York Yankees shirt in support of Donaldson.
Oh, I guess I'm just taking it out on you then. Because you went from Confederate to Yankee like 90 going north.
He was suspended for making racist comments, Josh Donaldson, according to Bleacher Report, May 23rd, 2022, to Tim Anderson, a black guy who don't play like that. Weak. And I don't even know what he actually even said. Oh, yeah, he called him Jackie Robinson. What's up, Jackie? How you doing, Jackie? Better luck next time, Jackie. I got on base, huh? So, yeah, I support the good Yankees. And
okay.
Josh Donaldson, he's a good Yankee, maybe, if there is such a thing.
Well, I support the good things, so
nice.
I'm with you on that.
Very fine people on both sides.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done, all talked out, but I just wanted to second what that caller was saying. He's right. He is right. I think he's right. You know, I've seen it for myself. He's right.
What have you seen for yourself?
People standing up to, they go to work and they don't tolerate this nonsense. You know, they get preached at with their agendas. You know, this liberal agenda.
Yeah.
And people they walk away.
Oh, okay. There's definitely a time for that. I'm arguing with you guys a little, only in that people will panic and do the wrong thing, thinking that they're doing the right thing because they feel like they have to do something. And so they'll spout off on Facebook or spout off in real life, lose friends for no reason. And yeah, they're not real friends anyways, but that's not a reason to just spout off and alienate people for no good reason. It's not as though every Trump supporter and every Christian is coming from a heart of real love. That's why I was saying that we have to really repent. It's good to be fearless, but we have to repent so that we are led by the Spirit and not by some cockamamie idea, if I can use that word. I don't know. Maybe I mispronounced it. Thinking that we're standing for what's right.
Right. You got to do what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah, just be wise about it. Be led by the Spirit, not by frustration or fed up with it. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean?
Yeah.
Not to call you Jelly Bean.
I know. I'm a Jelly Bean.
You can say, yes, I do, tennis shoe. I appreciate it, man. Great call, Daniel. Thank you for the follow-up. It's nice to hear a sensible, calm white man follow up from an agitated, older black man. You're a young man, right?
Well, I mean, I've never faulted a black man for defending blacks. So,
Oh yeah, no, I really like Keith from Illinois. He's a solid guy. I've been a caller to the JLP show forever, and now Hake.
Right on.
Thanks, man. Call me again.
Will do.
All right. Take care. Hopefully I don't hang up on the wrong person like I've been doing that. I haven't even gotten to one story except for based, which I use the term loosely, George Santos and the attack on Trump. I will get to more of your calls and some mildly interesting stories, but it's time for some music. Steve Taylor is the Christian artist of choice for Hake today. This is from the 1993 album Squint. And if you ever feel like a misfit or like you just can't find your pair, you too, maybe there is a place for you in sock heaven. You musical Philistines, you can cover your ears, you can press mute, or you can grin and bear it, and I'll be right back for hour 2. Hang tight. It's Christian guys. Do you have God in a box? Mute. So good. Are you misunderstood? So good. You accidentally grab a Prince album? No, this guy's white. So good. Hey. 2 Out Friday coming next hour, guys. I feel like Hake does this on purpose to test our faith. Yeah. Is there a music video? I think there might. This song is better, miles better than other creepy children's songs from before, Hake. Shout out this. It's not Prince, guys. It's Steve Taylor. He's a Christian. I like Hake. I like Hake too. Thank you. Well, guys, thank you for bearing with me through that beautiful music. Some of you guys thought that it wasn't morally straight. Grippy sock heaven. Is this dying? Not morally straight, not normal white music. Hey, your music is trash, says Nugget Man. Almost as not morally straight as the chat males who use emojis, says Inward Thoughts, which I have suspicions about who that is. I'm pretty sure I know. But thank you, guys. Maybe Prince stole this guy's sound. Yeah. No, he's it's not Prince, it's Prance. Grippy socks. Are those the ones that have the rubber things on the bottom?
Yeah, like for insane asylums or whatever.
Oh yeah, they gave him those nice baggy socks.
With the
Not that I would know necessarily. I've heard.
Same.
Shout out to Anchor Baby. That's Nick Stream, host of Nick Stream. He's Nick, host of Nick Stream. Nicolas, the Anchor Baby, manning the board over here. What'd you think of that track? Steve Taylor in general.
Loving the vibe, loving the sound.
Same. I agree.
I like that style.
And it's a kind of an
Very head bop.
Yeah, it's
Total
an
head
interesting
bop.
metaphor too. Like, oh, you just throw your socks in the dryer and you can't find that missing sock. Where does that sock go? Maybe it's in sock heaven. And,
Thank you for that. I was wondering.
Yeah.
That makes me really like the song.
And so it's like this sock is like then you have this sock that's left over, tossed in a, and then there's some piles of socks waiting for with their God in a box. You put your God in a box, so you think you know all about God. Meanwhile, he's like, I never knew you. And then the other pile of socks nervously mock heaven. They mock heaven. And then maybe there's these misfit socks, the few who are going to sock heaven.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Not sock heaven as in punch, but heaven for the socks.
I really like that.
Yeah. There's a nice little metaphor there. Fancy dancy. That's why I like his lyrics. That's Steve Taylor. It's not gay, you guys. Even though he was singing kind of like Prince. Whatever. Thank you guys for bearing with me through that. And thank you, Nicolas, who's putting in the hours today on the board operation. Before I get back to calls, hang tight, callers. I do see you. I see you. You are seen. Feel seen. I have to get to this. Space is not fake and it's not good. The 4 astronauts at NASA, which means lies. Just kidding, it doesn't. Picked NASA does not mean to deceive in Hebrew. It's fake news. I looked it up on the fact check. All the fact checks show that your claim is wrong, to quote Don Lemon. Picked for historic Artemis II mission, moon mission. Call Me Nonsense Network, CNN reports, and I have their pictures. Meet the decorated astronauts selected to helm the first crewed as in C-R-E-W-E-D, not crude as in vulgar. Hopefully, does this look too vulgar to you? I don't think it's too vulgar. 2 white men, 1 American, 1 Canadian. The Canadian's on that far left over there. Typical Canadian. No, but he's like a square-jawed Canadian-looking man. And then there's an American man who looks shorter than all the rest, but he's the boss. He's the American boss man, white American boss man. And then, of course, they have a black who grew up in Pomona, California. Shout out to Pomona, California. Pomona's where one black guy, I don't know if I want to say that. He set his wife or baby's mother, children's mother, on fire and killed her. I covered the story, but this guy didn't do that. He's a black American astronaut, and then a female, white female, or maybe not a normal white female. Her last name is Koch, like the Koch brothers, but she's the Koch sister. No, I don't know if she's any relation. Is that a normal white, or is that like not Christian, or what? So it's the first crewed moon mission with a crew, as in. Classic female scientist face, says Nick. And he's also calling the Canadian a hoser. And I heard that on a Christian song, so I can say that. So it's an okay word to say, right? Hoser's okay to say? Just don't say goof. Oops. Sorry, Canadian kids. Don't say that word. So Reed Wiseman is the white American boss man who's in the second from left. Victor Glover, the black. Christina Koch, K-O-C-H, the woman. The woman. They're like diversity. NASA. Makes me want to spit. But, you know, these people are somewhat talented and somewhat, perhaps, irregardless of the forced diversity, the contrived diversity, which is not a word. Not irregardless is not a word. They're perhaps fairly qualified, you know? Jeremy Hansen is the Canadian man with the square jaw. Wiseman's 47-year-old. Wiseman's the boss man, Reed, R-E-I-D. 47-year-old decorated naval aviator and test pilot. I think they're going to circle the moon, right? They're going to orbit it and come back? It's like 1 million miles or something like that. First selected to be a NASA astronaut in 2009. Congratulations. Baltimore, Maryland, he's from. He did a 165-day trip to the International Space Station, Globo Homo Space Station. Launched aboard a Russian Soyuz rocket 2014. Anyway, Wiseman's commander of the Artemis II mission. Is he a liberal? He looks like a white American man. He's the boss. Shout out to the boss. At least, anyway. Glover's the, not Danny Glover, not Donald Glover. What's this guy's name again? Victor Glover. He's the good Glover, maybe. Fighter pilot, selected, oh wait, hold on. Glover's 46-year-old naval aviator returned to Earth from his first space flight in 2021. Oh, so he's a newbie. Hansen is a fighter pilot. Hansen is the, that's the Canadian guy. Fighter pilot selected by the Canadian Space Agency for astronaut training 2009 from London, Ontario. London is in Ontario, not to be confused with Ontario, California, nor London, England. Canadians. So confusing. Their stuff is so confusing. Was Ontario, Canada named after Ontario, California, the city? Maybe not. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? He's in charge of training for a new class of NASA astronauts. And the woman, oh, hold on, let me tell you about Glover. Born in Pomona, California. Served in several military squadrons in the United States and Japan in the 2000s, 3,000 flight hours and more than 40 aircraft, over 400 carrier-arrested landings, and 24 combat missions. He was on the SpaceX Crew 1 team, so maybe Elon Musk selected him, right? He did a 6-month stay on the orbiting laboratory. This Koch woman, 44 years old, classic female scientist face, according to Nicolas. Veteran of 6 spacewalks. Count them. She was on the first all-female spacewalk. Cringe. Aw, doesn't she look kind of nice? I guess. Mildly attractive. Shout out to the mildly attractive ladies. She holds the record for the longest single space flight by a woman with a total of 328 days in space. Where's her husband? No, I don't know. She also is an electrical engineer who helped develop scientific instruments for multiple NASA missions. And they didn't put an S at the end of that sentence, I get, for some reason. Koch is a native of Grand Rapids, Michigan, spent a year at the South Pole. That's also known as Antarctica. The ice walls for the, shout out to the flat earthers. We love you, if we love anybody. An arduous day that could well prepare her for the intensity of a moon mission. And this Artemis 2 mission that they're going to be on will build on Artemis 1, which is an uncrewed spacecraft. This one is crewed. That one was uncrewed, meaning didn't have a crew, that sent NASA's Orion capsule on a 1.4 million mile voyage to lap the moon, go do a lap around it. That concluded in December. It was deemed a success. They're still working to review all the data collected. Cool, huh? Anyway, that's your space news, which is just vanity, really, right? Maybe we can learn some things, some tricks and tips, right? Spoiler alert, says they named the California town Ontario in honor of the province of Ontario, Canada, where they were born, according to Ontario, California history. Thank you. Spoiler alert. Darn. So Ontario, California is Canada's little brother, which is the little brother of America, right? What a mess. The wayward little brother, I would have to say, right? I guess we're all wayward. Great Hake, worshiping cults and went Yankee. Dude. Quick super chat here, or two over here. One from DJ On Paw. That song about heaven socked hard as usual, Hank. And he's saying socked instead of a different word, which you shouldn't say, kids. Thank you, DJ On Paw. Sneaking in those diamonds. Very nice. Not nice, but right. I think maybe it has to grow on you. Spoiler alert gave a tip on Ko-Fi, ko-fi.com/@ the Hake Report. What about the socks that are darned for eternity? That's pretty clever, man. That's a clever white man joke. Right on. Did you get that joke? Darned socks? Darned for eternity? Darning has something to do with knitting or yarn and stuff, I feel like.
Oh, man, I totally missed that one.
Yeah, darn define.
Good one.
Let's see. Mend. A hole in knitted material by interweaving yarn with a needle. Nice. Instead of damned for eternity. And damned is not a cuss necessarily when you're saying it in a sentence. It's like sending it to hell for eternity. And people say darn instead of the D word, curse word. It's a literal curse. The whole rest of them are cusses. Thanks for the space news, Hank. Useless, says Russian Bot. I know. Hopefully it was mildly entertaining or something. But let me get to Frederick in Los Angeles, California, on the line. Frederick, thanks for calling and holding. How you doing?
How's it going, Hank?
Fine, thank you.
Let me get out. Hold on. Yeah, I wanted to call in and ask you what you think about President Trump turning himself in today.
I think that he tends to do the right thing and the measured thing. He's quite measured in what he does, so right on to him for that.
Okay. I appreciate that answer because only he knows what he done. But to get a felony indictment, it's more than that Stormy Daniels deal.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, that's just a misdemeanor. It's another part of it I've been looking up.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess they're gonna they're supposed to unseal the 30-something charges or 30 charges today. So I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
What made you look into it? What interested you in looking into it? before time.
Because I don't want to holler. We got him if we don't even know what he's being charged with. You know what I mean? A lot of all this hype.
Right.
I think the media is trying to do one of those Mike Brown numbers on us, like hands up, don't shoot.
The media is trying to hype it up. Mike Brown, they gave fake news about hands up, don't shoot. Mike Brown didn't have his hands up. At least not at the time that he was charging at the officer.
He come out as Teflon Don because they done jumped the gun. They always jump in the gun. Like, if he ever gets in any trouble.
Yeah. They got him this time. This could be the end. Oh.
Yeah, but the lawyers watch the news, and the news tell them what they got on him and how to get around it and what loopholes he can use.
Right.
And, they bring on all these specialists. I'm like, this is retarded.
Oh, he said the R word.
Get out of this one.
I disavow that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I get your point. John from Kentucky asked me an interesting question, and I'm going to be debating about it today, later this evening, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern on Modern Day Debate. Check it out. Okay. I'm going to go against the guy Caught in the Middle YouTube channel, Mathew with 1 T. I talked to him before on his show. I was on his first episode, and he's talked to T-Jump since. But John asked me, shouldn't he pay for his crimes if he committed crimes? And I don't know the answer to that, because normally my white rules-following self would be like, hey, whoever commits any crimes, hey, you committed a crime. But a lot of these crimes are like crimes with an asterisk, They're like tax supposed crimes or campaign finance supposed crimes. And those are sort of victimless in a sense. Like, where's the victim? How is that as a felony? You did something that the government decided was wrong, not normal people think is wrong. Yeah, maybe there's some disaffected Trump supporters who donated to him, and maybe he used campaign funds in a way that they wouldn't have wanted. But they gave it to him, trusting him in the first place. Now they turned on him. They're mad at him because they turned on him, not because of some moral outrage over what he did. These are crimes with an asterisk. Yeah, you shouldn't break the law, but the law is not just nowadays. So I don't really trust these laws. Like, if you have to explain it to me in more than 3 words, did he commit murder? Did he commit assault? Did he commit theft? And did he commit whatever? And if you have to say theft with an asterisk, then I'll be like, come on.
I looked into it, and the crime that I'm thinking that they're going to say he committed was benefiting from paying Stormy Daniels, the hush money. Because there's a clause in there where you can't benefit on the campaign trail or the election. It's something about the election law.
Yeah.
Where if you benefit from falsifying business records, it's no longer a misdemeanor. And they saying that the damage of him sleeping with a porn star is him benefiting to get elected.
Yeah, but
a lot of Christians wouldn't have voted for him.
Maybe, yeah. There's some Christian suckers who wouldn't vote for him for hearing that, but I don't know if I think most of them didn't vote for him because he still to this day says that he didn't. And real Christians wouldn't care about that because that's in the past and has nothing to do. We all knew about this.
Real Christians do. Stop. That's what hurt Herschel Walker. If you admit it, they don't care about it. But if you lie about it, they won't forgive you. You got to acknowledge
those aren't real Christians. Real Christians voted for Herschel Walker, irregardless of the accusations, the gossip.
I don't think real Christians did, or he would have won. Because he kept.
There aren't very many real Christians.
Baby.
I'm using real
Another
Christians.
Baby.
I'm using real Christians as in the non-hypocrites, the non-judgmental Christians.
Okay, the Maui attractive. Okay, we're gonna call him the Maui.
You're claiming that can the sun resurrect? You claimed in your chat that Easter, or what did you say about this? Hold on. Passover is when the sun resurrected north of the equator. So that's what the real Passover is?
Yes, because when it died on Christmas is when it goes so far south and that's when it dies for 3 days, and then on the third it rises. But Passover is just when it passes over the equator and the farming season starts, and they praise it because they made it through the cold, the bitterness of, like, hard times back then.
Nice.
So the sun was bringing life to
Yeah.
all of the earth, and now these pagans don't even start with the pagans. Why y'all scared to go back farther than the Hebrews and the fake Israelites? Like, that's Semitic. I'm anti-Semitic, so don't say I'm against the Jews and all that. But there's more history out there for y'all to learn and pick up. It's like we've been, like, the first calendar is still set up.
So Passover is when the sun passes over. Passover is when the sun passes over to the north of the equator. So as for the people, us in the northern hemisphere, celebrating springtime.
Exactly.
And so the people south of the equator, the people south of the equator mourn it because they mourn summer turning into fall.
Yep, there you go.
So they shouldn't be. Are there any Jews south of the equator, or Israelites? I mean, Egyptians. You think you're an Egyptian, right?
Yes, I am an Egyptian.
So are you sour? I think you're
just ones that's over there. They say the Egyptians in Egypt right now are classified as white.
I think that you're. Go ahead. Finish your point.
There's a system that classifies people by race, and they put North Africa on the chart of being white.
You see?
That's why the Egyptians in Egypt right now, and they want to keep that title of being white. So they denied that the ancient Egyptians were black. That's what the problem with Kevin Hart was. Until there's the whole thing.
Now you sound. I suppose that might be what Passover means, but not to the Jews.
Of course not.
You think the Jews got Passover for the sun as opposed to from the Egyptians in the sun, as opposed to hold on, man. How does it? Are you just sour grapes that you're not descended from a firstborn son because the firstborn sons were killed in Egypt when the Spirit of God passed over the Israelites' doors that were painted in the relatively clean lamb's blood? But the Egyptians' doors were not painted in the lamb's blood, so the Egyptians' firstborn sons got killed in one of the plagues that befell Egypt because Egypt wasn't letting the Israelites go.
That never happened.
You're sour? You sound sour grapes about that. Are you
no,
bitter?
No, I'm not.
Are you bitter?
Imagine. What happened? How did Moses make it to grow up as an Egyptian?
Because he was found in the Nile River.
All the men except the women.
He was found in the He was found in the Nile River. Denial.
Because the Pharaoh was.
And the Pharaoh's daughter, right? The Pharaoh's daughter found him and she protected him, along with his older sister.
Was sent up the river. Moses was supposedly sent up the river because Pharaoh killed everybody, right?
Yeah, to protect the baby. Yeah. The mother loved him,
No, they protected the baby. He was supposed to be one of them murdered, but they put the baby on
a basket, and floated in the Nile, right? Was it the Nile?
Right. Yeah.
He's a basket babies greater than anchor babies. Whoa. Moses is not greater than Nico. Anyway.
He was raised as an Egyptian, though, right?
Yeah, but with his older sister kind of helped him out and said, "You're a Hebrew," and so he killed an Egyptian person who was mistreating a Hebrew Israelite, true Israelite, and he killed a white Egyptian protecting a white Israelite, and white Moses had to flee to the desert and marry a black Ethiopian gal.
All right. You Bible thumping today.
Yes, I am.
Foolishness. Stop it. Listen,
Stop it.
Pharaoh was never bad. They wanted to paint him bad so y'all can be victims. Everybody got to play the victim. We already explained that.
Yeah.
But why come you listen to that white caller when he said, oh, no, he died for 3 days. But when I said he died for 3 days and it would have been Monday, nobody listened to me.
I didn't listen to him either.
You believed it.
No, I didn't listen to him either because...
Yeah, once he said 3 days in the belly of the whale, you was like, oh, I guess it would be Monday.
No, but I was asking if he meant Monday.
3 nights.
I was asking if he meant
3
Monday,
days
but
and
he
3
said
nights.
that the day of the week doesn't matter. It matters what day of the week the Passover falls on, and it's 3 days after that. So Good Friday used to be called Black Friday. I
It's
heard
still
from
not
spoiler alert.
right.
But yeah, no, the third day, kind of like the 6th annual White History Month, is going to be 5 years after the first annual White History Month, because the first annual White History Month was on year 0. It's kind of like the 21st century is the year 2000.
Yeah.
The
I
19th
appreciate
century
you
is the
looking out for that
1800s.
caller. You just looking out for them callers' safety when you tell them don't wear their hat to work, and they don't understand that. That's like their
right on.
ego. They looking for problems when they put that Trump hat on. They know what they doing. No other Obama and all them other politicians. You never seen a Bill Clinton hat or a Bush hat and all this.
I
other stuff like
saw
you seen Make
Obama
America
though.
Great.
I saw blacks and Hispanics
There
wearing
wasn't,
Obama
100
paraphernalia.
people with an Obama hat. You see
Huh?
100 people with an Obama hat on.
Not 100,
Show
because
me a picture
Obama
where you see 100 people
Obama
with an
was
Obama hat.
he was not as popular as they pretend. I don't think.
You
But
got
anyway,
elected
man,
twice.
I gotta run. Appreciate you, Frederick.
Okay. But,
Adios.
yeah. Later.
Bye. You know, a storm's coming in, guys. 45 million. About how many people from Texas to Wisconsin at risk of severe weather today? Maybe it already happened. And you guys experience that severe weather? Another powerful storm threatens to bring more dangerous tornadoes to the region. It's already killed 32 plus, I heard. Well, that was in the South and Midwest, which I guess Texas and Wisconsin count, right? Storm system heading through some of the same areas, the Midwest and the South, that were at least 50 deadly tornadoes. All 50 of them were deadly? Or among the 50 were deadly tornadoes? Yeah, over the weekend, I was seeing these different pictures with these different headlines. 10 dead, 25 dead, 31 dead, or something like that. 25 dead. I don't know. It's a bunch. 21. Crazy, huh? And you just see this destruction under these beautiful skies, beautiful, innocent-looking, God-made skies. Wow. Trees down everywhere, heavy trees. Sometimes I walk under trees, I'm like, I hope this doesn't fall on me. Like it fell on that guy, the very unlucky guy who sued and is getting money to this day, I think. The rhino governor of Texas. I doubt that all 50 tornadoes were deadly. Otherwise, there would be 50 dead. Right? Touchdown over the weekend. That's just a side note. Here's a quick story for you guys. Volodymyr Zelensky, very unchristian, by the way. Uncompassionate, too. The Commie Nonsense Network shares this quote. Oh, I get to use his voice. I'm not thinking of what is going on in St. Petersburg or in Moscow. I'm thinking about our country and our cities. That's what Ukrainian unchristian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who supposedly lives in a Christian country, Ukraine, right? Declining to comment on Sunday's explosion. That's a comment. Sunday's explosion, which I told you about at the end of the show yesterday in St. Petersburg, Russia. They call it an explosion. I call it a terror attack and an assassination, which killed one of the country's prominent military journalists. CNN even calls him a journalist. And injured 32 others. And it seemed like it was on purpose. I don't have the footage for you, and I didn't have it for you yesterday either, but I saw the explosion just blow through this coffee shop or whatever it was where he was speaking. This guy, Vladlen Tatarsky, his pen name, that's his pen name, his real name. He was born Maxim Yurievich Fomin, Fomin. And he was Ukrainian-born Russian military blogger, convicted bank robber, and participant in the Russo-Ukrainian War. Active as a propagandist for Russia, he was in the separatist forces in Ukraine. See, there are Ukrainians who are for separating from Ukraine. Did you know? Until he was assassinated in the 2023 St. Petersburg bombing on Sunday. And a hearing is scheduled today, maybe it already happened, for a female anti-war activist. Terrorist. Terrorism is when it's political violence. And isn't all violence political most of the time when it's done by a country? So isn't it all terrorism? How do they, anyway. Maybe terrorism is without the gentleman's rules of war, right? Gentleman's rules. She was arrested in connection with the blast. And, you know, I told you about this female who gave him a bust, a sculpture of him. I'm such your fan. And she joked with him, and it was very disarming to the, and charming apparently to the security who failed. Was that on purpose? No idea. But it's wild because this guy, he robbed a bank at one point back in the day. Interesting sort of a thing. And then he fled to Russia. Born in 1982, died at age 40, this Vladilin guy. Real name Maxim. But he rested in peace, man. And I heard Kevin Howe calling him a propagandist. Google was calling him a propagandist, and Wikipedia was calling him a propagandist. But isn't that rich? Because all those people are a bunch of propagandists themselves. Pots and kettles, huh? Pots and kettles. My goodness. Do you want to? Oh, I have to share this with you. It's ridiculous. Here's a preacher dude, wannabe dudette, against the Second Amendment. But he's in favor of the false identities. This is from Fox News. Faux news. Transgender pastor. No such thing as a transgender. It's just a mistaken identity. Compares treatment of the marginalized Nashville shooter. That was the lady, and I may be using the term loosely, right? Ladies don't commit murder. Who allegedly mass murdered 3 children and 3 adults at that Christian school in Nashville. Covenant School, something like that. Compared the treatment of the marginalized Nashville shooter to Jesus being crucified. What? Nashville shooter Audrey Hales, who tried to go by Aiden, age 28, misidentified as transgender. So the name of this pastor dude, who thinks he's a dudette, is Micah. And I'm going to censor it, but not censor the voice because you have to hear the voice. 3 minutes and 45 seconds. Micah Luagi, recently formally installed as the pastor of St. Mark's Lutheran. Martin Luther would be turning over in his grave, or would he? In Fargo, North Dakota. You guys ever see that movie? I guess a bunch of liberals moved there after the movie came out, Fargo. Creepy, weird movie. With a somewhat charming lady police officer in it. But horrific murders and stuff going on over there. Delivered the Easter-themed sermon to the small congregation on Palm Sunday. That was 2 days ago, April 2nd. So here's the clip. After reading the biblical account of Jesus' crucifixion, Luagi immediately brought up the mass murder. They call it a mass shooting. That's a political term. It's called mass murder in Nashville. So here's clip 12, courtesy of Woke Preacher Clips at Woke Preacher TV. It's almost 4 minutes long, but I did cover up the face. I censored the face, and there may have been another transgender. I censored that face just out of, just to be safe, out of respect for you and my own sensibilities, not out of disrespect for the people who think that they're transgender. We don't be nasty, right? Here it is.
In their recording of Jesus' journey to the cross, the author makes a point of saying that the chief priests and the whole council were looking for false testimony against Jesus so that they might put him to death.
Like Trump.
Those leaders were looking for any excuse, valid or not, to crucify Jesus. And they found that reason. And that reason was solidified when the crowd shouted to release Barabbas.
Give us Barabbas.
They had their final excuse.
The zealot,
they would
murderer.
kill the one whose reputation as a teacher and healer and whose mission of love and dignity was so very threatening to their own reputation, that they needed to kill him in order to preserve their good image.
This voice is kind of rough.
It's baffling to me that someone's existence can be so threatening that people decide they need to be controlled, that they need to have laws made against them, or even
like Trump
worse,
and his supporters?
that the people that they find to be so threatening should die.
Whoa.
There are a significant number of people
Christians?
who have deemed that the fact that the Nashville shooter happened to be a trans person,
just so
it's
happened.
been reported, is just the excuse they need to call for the eradication of trans folks.
Oh, I
rather
don't know.
than focusing on the fact that we have a serious gun violence problem that continues to go unaddressed, rather than focusing on the fact that 6 more people are dead, rather than focusing on the fact that those staff and children should have been safe in that school.
It is a woman.
Or focusing on the fact that children do not feel safe in their own schools. Rather than focusing on any of this, they have decided they need to cause more harm.
Oh, this is a dudette.
This isn't a new phenomenon.
Dude.
It's been
My
happening.
mistake.
It's been happening in this country for many, many years.
It's a she.
And in other places as well.
I was wondering how he
The
got such
Holocaust,
a effeminate
the Japanese internment camps of the 1940s, segregation,
I was like, Mike
forcibly sending indigenous children to residential schools, migrants being held in cages, the list goes on.
Oh, gosh, come on.
And it didn't have to
Migrants.
happen this way.
Put them in cages. They belong
Jesus
in cages.
did not
They're
die
illegals.
for this. Jesus did not die so that violence could be perpetuated in God's name. Jesus did not die for access to guns. God incarnate did not die on that cross so that people could value money, power, and the preservation of their own
much space.
image over the bodies and lives of people. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's what Jesus died to free us from. So why are we still
man.
not free?
Because you're a mess. Oh, sorry, guys.
Our hymn
sorry,
of the day
space.
is number 353.
And then they zoom out and look at how big this congregation is. I censored that other guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a bald old guy there. What are you doing in the congregation? And then there's this effeminate person, maybe, or gal, who's like bushy. Hake censorship is the only censorship I approve of. Yeah, for those who weren't watching the video, I blacked out over the faces of the people who were being, a little bit vulgar, in my opinion. So that was from St. Mark's Lutheran Church in Fargo, North Dakota. What happened to Fargo? Of course, North Dakota. So, correction, guys, that was a preacher dudette, thinking that she's a dude. That's why she called herself Micah. I'm a little slow. I didn't pick up on that actually was a female voice, not just an effeminate voice. I thought that this guy started the hormones real early. I was expecting a mannish voice, and I was like, oh, this sounds like a gal. Anyway, that's a mess. Pretend it's the guns. 2. Let me just clear our palate real quick with one more quick news story. Based Ron DeSantis out of Florida, I may be using the term loosely, where gun laws are changing, according to the far-left females at the Skim, with 2 M's, Florida. Yesterday, Governor Ron DeSantis, a Republican, signed a bill into law allowing residents who can legally own a gun to carry a concealed loaded weapon without a permit. That's right, your rights shall not be infringed, even if you hide this gun. Normally you have to open carry, and then you have to get a permit to concealed carry. And some places you can't even open carry unless you're, carrying it from the gun store to the gun range or from home to the gun range or directly back. You can't be making any side trips. You can't carry it all the time. That's what it's like in the People's Republic of California, I've heard. The law does not affect the state's requirements for background checks and a 3-day waiting period. Lame, that's infringement. When getting a gun from a licensed dealer. License, that's infringement. It does, however, allow citizens who exchange guns privately to conceal carry without a background check or firearms training. Nice. You know, they say, oh, you have to get a license to drive. Driving is not a right. It's a privilege. Did you know that? It's not among the rights. Although you do have the right to travel. So I don't know. But anyway, as people get more and more immoral, they take the excuse and infringe on our rights. What a shame. Or so they try. Ron DeSantis signed a bill. Be wise, guys. Be wise, men and ladies and children. Can children be wise? As much as possible, right? Obey your parents. Honor your father and mother. Ron DeSantis signed the bill behind closed doors. Now Florida is the 26th state to authorize some form of permitless carry. The NRA, National Rifle Association, of which I am a member, even though they're a bunch of rhinos now, but some of them are solid. They're hit and miss. Called the legislation a momentous step in the constitutional carry movement. Critics said they're concerned it will increase gun violence. There's no such thing. And pointed to the Pulse nightclub and Parkland shootings, which occurred way before open carry or legal concealed carry. The law goes into effect July 1st. Speaking of the gun debate, there is no debate. We have the right. You're just yapping. Tennessee Republican lawmakers have filed resolutions to expel 3 Democrat lawmakers for leading gun reform chants on the Tennessee House floor. How vulgar. Good for them. Good for the people filing to expel them in the wake of the Covenant school shooting. Yeah, because leaving these people sitting ducks in a barrel is not right. Watch gun violence go down, predicts John Frederick. We shall see. Hank, what you doing in a Yankee shirt? Hake, what you doing in a Yankee shirt? What the? It's Donaldson. Josh Donaldson. I put it there because he said, "What's up, Jackie? How you doing, Jackie?" To this one guy who's sour grapes, poor sport, can't handle the trash talk. And Jackie Robinson, because Jackie Robinson was the first black player who was allowed to play in the white stuff, white league. So that's why I'm wearing it. And he was suspended for being racist. Somehow that's racist. What a mess. All these professional sports organizations are a mess. And so too are the teams. But some of the players are all right. Quick super chat from rumble.com/The Hake Report. Shout out to the females in the chat. And by females, I do not mean anyone who communicates with an emoji. Well, thank you. Evil is still real. Sounds slow at 1.5 speed. Yeah, I played it even slower than that. By the way, we will have Joel Friday TV in here next, coming up in 15 minutes or plus or minus. Let me get to Nate in Southern California on the line. Been on hold for quite some time. Nate, thanks for calling and holding. What's up? Nate, are you there? Come off of mute. I only have like 5 minutes or less with you, man. Oh, Nate going once. Let me put him on hold to check on him. Let me go to Brian in North Carolina. Also been on hold forever. Brian in North Carolina, thanks for holding. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Hey, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Nice. Hey, man, I like the Yankees T-shirt you got on today.
You like it? You like the Yankees or you like the racism?
I like I like the Yankees.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't even know anything about sports. I've never even played baseball. I've swung a baseball bat, but that's it.
You say you want a baseball bat?
I've swung one at a softball.
Oh, you swung one.
Terrible.
Well, I'm also cool with the so-called racism as well.
Nice.
You've asked.
Yeah, I know. He's all, "What's up, Jackie?" Something like that.
Well, I wanted to ask you if you had, in your research of the topic, if you looked into any of Josh Donaldson's history as an MLB player.
I have not. Josh Donaldson, he's the guy who was suspended, right? I don't remember. What's some of his history?
Well, he's in my lifetime, he's been one of the most competitive ball players in the league.
Wow.
I mean, what he got suspended for kind of shows, it's big time competition. There's going to be a little bit of trash talking.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the trash talk is part of the game. You get in their head. And racism is one of the first things you're supposed to go to because it's funny and it potentially gets under the people's skins. And so, or you go sexism, you play like a girl or something like that. And it's funny, it's in good fun, supposed to be. Sometimes it gets nasty and out of control, but it's ego and let the young men have their fun. So
I know.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt Jackie Robinson.
Right. Yeah, he endured so much more. This guy, Jackie Robinson, would spit at the notion of who's the black guy who got mad? I forget what his name is. He had a nice American black name. Black American name. Not a black name, but just an American name. But he's like, I don't play like that. I don't play like that.
If you get a chance, though, check out Josh Donaldson compilation. I think it's titled Josh Donaldson Roid Rage or something because he's always accused of because he's competitive. They accuse him of taking steroids.
Oh, so he's like this sort of an angry guy, or at least expresses himself outwardly.
Yeah, he expresses his grievances on the baseball
So
field.
it's not necessarily highlights. It's Josh Donaldson Roid Rage. Interesting, man. But he's very competitive. I knew some very competitive young men, and some of them would get very angry sometimes, and sometimes they would even throw up before their games, but they would play very competitively.
When it comes to competition like that, I don't know if I would be so quick to call that anger. I mean, that's what everybody else does, but I just see it as him. I mean, he's in the game, man. He's focused.
Yeah, and it's just because it's blatant doesn't mean it's any worse than... I mean, it can lead to bad consequences at times if you commit like a murder or something. But it's the same evil spirit that's in the people judging the man,
right?
Or the timid people, you know?
Yeah. Yes. If Big Bump is listening, I don't know if he's seen it either, but it's a good watch. It shows some of his highlights as well. I mean, he's a great player.
Nice, right on, man.
That's all I got, though.
Right on. I appreciate that, Brian. Thanks for the tips on Josh Donaldson, the Yank.
The Yankees. Go Yankees.
Yankee. Right on, man. All right. Take care, Brian.
Take care.
All right. Nate in Southern California. Let me see if I can get to all the calls. Nate, let me give you just 3 minutes. Go.
3 minutes?
I know. But go ahead. Do what you can with it.
All right. I'm here buying a car. I bought it like real quick. There's no nonsense, no drama. Like,
and no cuss words. And no cuss words.
It.
Just a reminder.
Huh?
No cuss words either. Just a reminder.
No cussing today.
Right on.
On the Hake report.
Nice.
Okay. What do you want to know, Hake? I'm here to answer all your questions.
Oh, if I'm buying a car, what do I want to know? I don't even know what to ask. I'd be like, has it been in an accident before? Is this a...
No, it was not. It was brand new.
Okay. Is it a Toyota?
No, it's a Ford.
Oh, that's okay. But Ford was bailed out. Was Ford bailed out, or is that GM?
Hey, it's better than a Toyota. It's a Ford.
You said it's better... You stay close to your phone and don't be on speakerphone or anything weird like that. You said it's better than a Toyota? It's a Ford?
It's the best car you can buy. It was founded by Ford Motor Company.
Is it the F-150?
No, I don't need a truck, Hake. That's for you.
Oh, okay. Nice. Thank you, man.
You come on down here, and they know your name, James Hake, already.
Thanks for the vote of confidence, buddy. So you bought yourself a car, and you want these are my questions.
I signed you up. I signed you up for a truck.
Oh, thanks, man.
A big fucking blue one.
Hey, man, you cussed. I gotta go.
Oh, sorry.
No worries, man.
Wait.
No worries.
Hey, wait.
No, I gotta go though. I gotta go.
Hey, wait.
I gotta go, man. Take care, Josh. Call me again. Oh, he hung up before I did. Unless somebody else. No, I heard the click. He hung up. Sorry about the click, guys. Artie Art in Ohio, baby. You can call me back tomorrow, Nate. But sorry, kids. Go ahead, Art.
No, hey, wait. Wait.
That guy needs to control his tongue.
Control the tongue. No, hey, wait. And then I want to know why you banned Mike. Mike, I want to know why you just banned Mike, though. Mike called the Nick stream, and he said, man, why the heck ban me, man?
Mark.
Why this and
you
why
mean Mark?
Was it Mark that called the
Mark.
Nick stream?
Mark from Santa Monica. I banned him. I don't even remember why, but the way he's been acting, he justified. He made it seem like I made the right decision because he's kind of acting crazy now.
Hey, hey, why though? Why we want to know?
I don't even remember.
Mark.
I think he was. I sincerely don't even remember. He really he loves us. He watches the show still to this day. He doesn't really like me taking too long with out of control blacks. Not you, but just like some of the people who are just crazy and insane. But who are just anti-white.
Hey, don't play. Y'all messing with you, man. You ain't got that. You do
right
what
on,
you do, man.
Anyway.
So check this out. So who was that politician? That gay politician was walking in New York. I forgot it was.
That was George Santos or something. George Santos? I forget what his name is.
Yeah, man. Oh,
and I use the term loosely.
Flamer.
Oh yeah, he was quite effeminate. I'm not for that. It's not good. But he does support Trump, and I appreciate that. It's kind of like
you use it.
Go ahead.
Now, if I say you use it loosely, I'm using it tightly, man. That picture you pulled up in him, man.
Oh yeah.
He looks very, very gayish.
Right.
Or whatnot. And that I had 5 friends that got shot in the Pulse nightclub. Oh yeah, he's a gay boy for sure. You know.
He's openly that way. It's not good. And he's a Republican, but he was marching for Trump, and I gave a nod to it. I like him mainly because the rhinos and the Democrats overreact to him and how he just flippantly, allegedly lies about his resume. And who cares if you lie about your resume? These people lie about evil things like racism is real and homophobia is real and we need to support Ukraine, and we don't really need to, I don't think. I think that we're supporting the death.
Check this out.
Go ahead.
Then they find him to be lying about him having 4 friends that died in the Pulse nightclub, if I wasn't mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
it turns out he didn't have any employees. What's that?
Yeah, he struck out then. I said he struck out then. I mean, we over here with the Trumpsters, man, and Team Don, we ain't doing no capping and no lying, man. So.
Oh yeah, he also called himself a proud American Jew, and then he later said he's Jewish. He's not actually a Jew. He's just Jewish. He's Hispanic.
That weirdo need to sit on down. So
yeah, I agree. I just kind of jokingly call him based because it's so funny how blatantly he lies, and the people act so horrified and scandalized that he lied, but they're bigger, worse liars than him. Who cares if he didn't have a Pulse nightclub victims in his employees?
But 2 things before I get up off here. I thought that for you to be a preacher, you had to been called to be a preacher or a pastor or whatnot. That means that to be called to be that you had to basically not had a hard life, but you have had to went through trials and tribulations and walk with the devil and came out the fire unburnt, figuratively or whatnot, meaning that you had just went through trials and tribulations and you came out on the other side, and now you basically a thief or a robber or a killer, and you had repented and came to realize the ways that you were living were wrong. And that's your trials and tribulations, and that made you realize what the good of God is or whatnot. That would make you become a preacher or whatnot. I didn't know you could still be living in sin and then still have a congregation of 3 people or whatnot, meaning the transgender. You on the pulpit lying. You're transgender. That's a lie right there.
Yeah.
Second of all, you rocking back and forth or whatnot. We clearly can see that you got an evil spirit and you all that moving up there on the pulpit or whatnot, left and right. Second thing is that if you a female, you can't be no pastor, no preacher, whatnot. Let alone if you a man and you acting like a female, you can't because you dressing the opposite sex. And that's all against what the Bible is about. So yeah, I'm just so confused at what they don't get about what they're doing. And then my last thing I want to say is about the Vietnam War. Democrats started that or whatnot. The Vietnam people were trying to get away from the French, and the French been cool with America ever since the Revolutionary War. So I don't know what happened in between all that, but America didn't want Vietnam to have their own independence or whatnot, and Russia and China was siding with the Viet Cong or whatnot. So there's a lot of this stuff that's been going on for years or whatnot. And I just go ahead and speculate, not even speculate, knowing how the Democrats are, even with the Iran war with Saddam Hussein and what's his name, Bin Laden or whatnot. And even with Hitler, whatnot, they lie and do all this stuff and get America into all this stuff or whatnot.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it tends to be the Democrats. Go ahead, I'm listening.
I appreciate it. All right, I got to run, man. Take care.
I'll catch you later, buddy.
All right, adios, man. Last super chat from John WX25 on Streamlabs. The same dumb blacks and with lib white devils. Sorry, kids. Rooting for the greatest president to be arrested are the same trash. Human beings can be trashy, right? That celebrate an officer killer getting off and a sicko trans freak shooting up kids. And I know John WX25, they call evil good and good evil. It's a mess, but I appreciate it. John F. gave a tip on Ko-Fi. If anyone wants to really wake up, watch Uncle Tom 2 and a video that partly used in it called Anarchy USA. They get in touch with your local John Birch Society coordinator and help us spread the truth, says John F, J-O-N-F. Thank you, man, for the support. Guys, this has been the Hake Report. Joel Friday TV is next. And I'm kind of late getting out of here. Here is I'm Troubled in Mind by Spiritual Workshop Paris. It's a Negro spiritual. Adios, America.
When